Now from King of Bucks Television, it's Tales of the King. Amazing stories from hunters just like you.
The deer in Maine, Maine has been historical for producing massive, big, heavy-horned animals, white-tailed deer, for years and years and years. And considering where they come from and the available food that they have, it's a miracle that some of these antlers grow the way they do over the years.
Ron Bushy is a whitetail enthusiast of some note. As a Boone and Crockett scorer, he had the privilege of holding a tape to Milo Hanson's world record typical. But Ron has also always maintained a special interest in the big deer at the far northern extent of the whitetail's range, particularly Maine's incredible state record non-typical, the Hill Gould buck.
Now the thing about the Hill Gould buck, which is just the most amazing thing probably of any deer to this day, is that when you look at the score sheet on it, the circumference measurements of the Hill Gould has the greatest accumulation of circumference measurements. It totals over 70 inches, which means that each circumference averages 8 7/8 of an inch, which is just unbelievable, unheard of. So to this day, the Hill Gould head is probably the most massive deer ever entered in Boone and Crockett record keeping. And it was, when you think about it, it was shot in 1910, over 100 years ago. And to this day, no deer in all these years, all the millions of bucks that have been killed, none of them have surpassed the Hill Gould head.
The buck has 31 scoreable points, and those massive circumferences give the deer a net non-typical score of 259 6/8, still the Maine state record. But there is more to the story of this rack than simply numbers on a score sheet. The Down East Lakes region of Maine is truly a sportsman's paradise. Streams, lakes, and hundreds of square miles of unbroken timber support a rich bounty of fish and wildlife. And this wealth of natural resources has supported the strong tradition of Maine guides, who for generations have provided their clients, known locally as sports, with exceptional hunting and fishing adventures. One of these guides was a noteworthy young man named Hill Mulberry Gould.
You grew up around a table, kitchen table, with all the men sitting and talking about hunting and fishing. It's hard not to get into it. You just were dying as a young kid to get into it and go do it,
Louis Cataldo is a fourth-generation registered Maine guide living in Grand Lake Stream. The guide tradition runs deep in his family. His grandfather was Hill Mulberry Gould.
And this is the trail that Hill was on when he shot it. And what we suspect that he was sitting on this little knoll right here, watching that crossing. And the deer was in the alders right along the next side of the river. And he heard it coming, and he was watching, and the law is for nothing. Even if they were starving, I don't think he would have broke the law. That's the kind of guy he was. So he held off. It's a moose, I'm not going to shoot it. And then as they got closer to him in the alders, he realized it was a deer. He said, wow, I'm going to take that one. So he shot it and walked over, and he couldn't believe what he seen there, laying there. It was a massive animal.
Louis' hunting cabin, the Skunk Lodge, is just a few hundred yards from the site of Hill Gould's historic cabin.
Special, but
Hill Gould.
Hill Gould always was guide, always the guide. He that's what everybody did. That's what everybody does now, practically. That's the only thing there is to do.
The story, as passed down through the generations, has Hill dressing out the monster deer, skewering the heart and liver on a hardwood steak. He later bursts into his hunting cabin and tosses the huge organs down on the camp table. His startled buddies insist it must have been a moose. Only after tromping through the night woods with lanterns did they realize that this truly was an incredible white-tailed deer.
I had it in my hands, and it's heavy. It's a big, heavy piece of bone. I've dreamed for years of seeing one like that in the woods, but never happened. Nate.
Maine's rich guiding tradition lives on. Hill Gould would surely smile at the success of the local guide's creation, the Down East Lakes Land Trust.
This has been our playground for, forever. And we, with all these people buying land and turning it into little hunting preserves and gating it and putting fences up, we got scared of that, seeing it happen other places. So we said, we're going to keep this guiding thing and this fishing and hunting thing going around here. We got to protect this land. So a bunch of us got together, guides and camp owners and whatnot, and we put together a little group and we started trying to do it. And we own 33,000 acres now. We're working on buying another 22,000 acres right at the moment. And we've protected, just with an easement, close to 400,000 acres, right around this area. Yeah, Bass Pro Shop actually donated to this project, conserving this 90,000 acres with a significant donation. I mean, it was very nice, and we really appreciated what they did. The guiding and the sporting camp business is going to last. It's going to be here forever now.
Abundant fish and wildlife are not the only special resources of Northeast Maine. The tradition of the registered Maine guides has left a rich legacy, stories of giant fish and monster deer that are passed down through the generations. And thanks to the conservation efforts of the local guides, stories like that of Hill Gould's buck will be told around campfires for years to come in the North Woods. To coin the local phrase, forests and lakes, for people, forever. Over 100 years. That's how long the Gould buck has held the non-typical record in Maine. With a score of nearly 260, this palmated giant is likely to hold the title for many years to come. A breathtaking buck with an honored place in the King of Bucks collection.
We know that deer tend to move more in the morning hours right after sunup than they do in the evening hours right before sundown.